Taunton State Hospital, located in Taunton, Massachusetts, has a storied past filled with intrigue, mystery, and reported paranormal activity. Established in 1854, this psychiatric hospital has long been a subject of fascination for historians, ghost hunters, and those intrigued by the darker aspects of medical history. Taunton State Hospital was built to alleviate overcrowding in other state facilities and to provide humane treatment for the mentally ill. The hospital's original design followed the Kirkbride Plan, a system of mental asylum design advocated by psychiatrist Thomas Story Kirkbride. This plan emphasized natural light and ventilation, and the hospital's sprawling Gothic architecture was both imposing and intended to be therapeutic. During its early years, Taunton State Hospital was praised for its progressive treatment methods, which included occupational therapy, outdoor activities, and a more compassionate approach to patient care. However, as with many institutions of its kind, the hospital's practices evolved, and by the early 20th century, it became notorious for more controversial treatments. These included hydrotherapy, electroshock therapy, and lobotomies, common yet controversial practices of the time. As the years passed, reports of patient mistreatment and abuse began to surface. Overcrowding and underfunding led to deteriorating conditions, and many patients were subjected to harsh treatments and neglect. These conditions contributed to the hospital's dark reputation and rumors of unethical practices. Taunton State Hospital has long been a focal point for paranormal enthusiasts. Numerous reports of ghost sightings, eerie sounds, and unexplained occurrences have been documented. Some of the most commonly reported phenomena include: Number 1. Shadowy figures roaming the halls, often seen in peripheral vision. Number 2. Disembodied voices and screams echoing through empty corridors. Number 3. Unexplained cold spots and the sensation of being watched. One of the most infamous stories involves the underground tunnels connecting the various buildings on the hospital grounds. These tunnels, originally used for transporting patients and supplies, are said to be haunted by former patients who suffered within the hospital's walls. Taunton State Hospital began to decline in the mid-20th century, and by the 1970s, many of its buildings were in disrepair. The hospital officially closed in 1975, though some facilities continued to operate for various purposes until the late 1990s. Many of the original structures have since been demolished, but a few buildings remain, standing as eerie reminders of the hospital's past. Today, the site of Taunton State Hospital is a subject of interest for historical preservationists and paranormal investigators alike. Its legacy serves as a poignant reminder of the evolution of mental health care and the importance of humane treatment. The history of Taunton State Hospital is a blend of progressive intentions, controversial practices, and paranormal lore. Its story continues to captivate those interested in the intersections of history, mental health, and the supernatural. Whether you're a historian, a ghost hunter, or simply curious about the past, Taunton State Hospital offers a compelling glimpse into a darker chapter of medical history. Royal Hope Hospital in St. Augustine, Florida, holds a significant place in American history. Known for its long-standing connection to the early Spanish settlers and its association with reported paranormal activity, this site offers a fascinating glimpse into the past. Royal Hope Hospital was originally established as a military hospital during the First Spanish period in Florida, 1565 to 1763. It was one of the earliest medical facilities in the United States, serving the Spanish military and local population. The hospital was situated on the grounds of what is now known as the St. Augustine Historical Society. During its early years, the hospital treated soldiers and settlers suffering from a variety of ailments, including battlefield injuries, tropical diseases, and general illnesses. The medical practices of the time were rudimentary, and the hospital's conditions were often harsh. When the British took control of Florida in 1763, the hospital continued to serve as a medical facility under British rule. It returned to Spanish control in 1783 and remained operational until the early 19th century. The hospital was eventually abandoned and fell into disrepair. Archaeological excavations in the 20th century revealed a wealth of artifacts and human remains on the site, providing insights into the hospital's history and the medical practices of the time. These findings highlighted the challenging conditions faced by both patients and medical staff. Royal Hope Hospital is reputed to be one of the most haunted locations in St. Augustine. Reports of paranormal activity include: Number 1, apparitions of Spanish soldiers and hospital patients seen wandering the grounds. Number 2, unexplained sounds, such as moaning, footsteps, and the clinking of medical instruments. Number 3, sudden cold spots and the feeling of being watched. Many visitors and paranormal investigators have reported experiencing these phenomena, adding to the site's eerie reputation. Today, the site of Royal Hope Hospital is part of the St. Augustine Historical Society and is a popular destination for history enthusiasts and ghost hunters alike. The hospital's legacy is preserved through historical exhibits and tours that offer a glimpse into its storied past. Royal Hope Hospital's history spans several centuries and reflects the broader story of St. Augustine and its early settlers. From its origins as a Spanish military hospital to its current status as a historical landmark with reported paranormal activity, Royal Hope Hospital continues to captivate the imagination of those interested in American history and the supernatural. Athens Mental Hospital, also known as the Athens Lunatic Asylum, has a long and complex history. Located in Athens, Ohio, it was renowned for its treatment methods, patient care, and the numerous paranormal stories associated with it. The Athens Lunatic Asylum opened its doors in 1874. It was designed following the Kirkbride Plan, emphasizing moral treatment and compassionate care for the mentally ill. The hospital originally treated patients with various mental illnesses, including those with epilepsy, tuberculosis, and even women suffering from postpartum depression. Initially, the hospital was praised for its humane treatment of patients, which included occupational therapy, farming, and recreational activities. However, as the asylum became overcrowded, conditions deteriorated. Controversial treatments such as electroshock therapy, lobotomies, and hydrotherapy became common practices by the mid-20th century. Overcrowding became a significant issue, leading to insufficient staff and resources to care for the patients adequately. Many patients spent their entire lives at the hospital, and some were buried in the hospital's cemetery, known for its numbered graves rather than name markers. The Athens Lunatic Asylum is infamous for its reported hauntings and paranormal activity. Some of the most notable occurrences include the ghost of Margaret Schilling. One of the most famous legends involves the ghost of Margaret Schilling, a patient who went missing in 1978 and was found dead in an abandoned ward weeks later. Her body left a stain on the floor that many claim is still visible and is associated with ghostly activity. Apparitions and shadows. Numerous reports describe shadowy figures and full-bodied apparitions seen throughout the hospital grounds and inside the buildings. Unexplained sounds. Visitors and paranormal investigators have reported hearing disembodied voices, footsteps, and the sounds of distant screams. The Athens Lunatic Asylum closed in 1993. The site was then repurposed and is now part of Ohio University, known as the Ridges. The original buildings have been preserved and are used for various university functions, while some areas are open to the public for tours. The history of Athens Mental Hospital is a blend of early progressive treatment and later controversial practices, interwoven with tales of the paranormal. Its transformation from a mental asylum to a university campus highlights its enduring legacy. The stories of hauntings continue to draw interest from students, locals, and ghost hunters, keeping the memory of its past alive.